Hello, good evening. Welcome once again to our Conscious Educator Week 5. Yes, is your favorite school psychologist, Nwaebiem. I believe in raising teachers who are self aware, conscious, and effective in the classroom. So, last week we talked about mindful mornings. We unlocked the fact that our mornings are very important as educators. Yes, our mornings are very important. What you do with your morning would determine how you step into the day. Last 2 weeks, Friday, we also talked about emotional awareness. We said that it is the first step. It is the first step into emotional intelligence. We said a whole lot of things. It's another weekend. Hope you are excited. You know what excites me about Fridays is that is it is the beginning of a weekend, and weekend is a time where I reset, I reconnect, and I reignite. So if you see me showing up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, if you see me showing up, being myself, being effective, all those things happened during my weekend. And it can be the same for you. It's a time for you to rest, take account of how the week went, know what to put in place. So I expect you to be very happy. I expect you to be very excited. So let us dive in. This is week 5, emotional intelligence in the classroom. Mm, we are taking emotional awareness a step further. We are taking a step further. So when we talk of emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, we are talking about understanding ourselves, understanding others, and applying that knowledge. Emotional awareness has to do with you being aware, understanding your emotions, your ability to analyze how you feel, understanding others, how others feel via empathy. Then emotional intelligence is putting it to work. So it's very important. Teaching is an emotional, I will always say it. Teaching is an emotional work. You have to invest your emotions. So if you are not emotionally intelligent, you are shooting yourself at the leg. So no matter how versatile, how conversant you are with your course content, you deliver it and things like that. If you are not emotionally intelligent, you will sabotage your relationship with your learners, you will sabotage your relationship with your colleagues, and your children, your learners won't learn being emotionally intelligent from you. You know, when we are talking about issues that have to do with mental health, to teachers, this is our own this is our own contribution, not to have the masses that we have nowadays. Oh, you can find them everywhere on social media. People who don't know how to communicate, people who don't know how to disagree, things like that. So this is our own contribution, and we learn all these things at home. We learn them in school. We learn them everywhere we socialize. So when it comes to the field of education, let's do all we can, including helping ourselves, including learning, cultivating emotional intelligence ourselves, so that we as role models, because these children are watching, we as role models will, our children can learn from us. So emotional intelligence is foundation, is a very key aspect of our teaching and our learning process. Every interaction that happens in the classroom. You know, last week I was I took a time to sit with a mentor who also runs a school. So she was complaining about this particular staff. This teacher, he knows his course content. She was telling me, Chinyere, this teacher is good. He teaches well, but he lacks emotional intelligence. She has already made up her mind to let the teacher go. Parents are complaining, students are complaining. He teaches well. So, someone said something. He said, being good at your job can lead you to the top, but character is what will, and our is what will cause your downfall, is what will keep you there. And part of what we see as character is how we react when we are how we express our feelings, and how we react to the feelings of others. So emotional intelligence is very important. I started my journey, my conscious educator's journey, when I read this book by when I read Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Coleman. That book hit me hard. It hit me in places I can't understand. That was where I when I decided to see, you can't continue like this. Emotions are good, but you need to come to a point where you can use your emotions positively. You can use your emotions well. You can understand yourself, understand what makes you tick, understand what tickles your fancy, understand how you feel, and understand other people. And seriously, since I started that journey, I found out I no longer stress out myself in the classroom. Found out that I've rubbed off on a number of my students. I also find out that I no longer come back from work stressed out, drained like before. If you were a teacher who is not emotionally intelligent, believe me, before midday, you will be stressed. You will not know how to manage your emotion, and you won't know how to manage that of your learners. So that's why this section is very important. That's why you have to take next week tasks very, very serious. You can't afford to end this educators awareness journey just being like that. No, you can't afford it. No matter what you learn here, if you don't learn the place of emotional intelligence in your work as an educator, as a teacher, even as a parent, you are going to find it difficult handling other people's emotion, and you are going to find it difficult handling yours. Since I understood this, I'm no longer that teacher that flips. Before I can get angry, before I can, it's not as if I don't get angry now. It's not. I know how to react better. I know how to connect with my learners. That's just it. So a research was carried out on kindergarten learners. It was a kind of lifespan research, a research that lasted their lifespan, and it was carried out with a group of we had a group of learners who are book smart. They are intelligent, the normal intelligence. They are book smart, and we have those who are emotionally intelligent, and they were studied. The dynamics is like this: those of them that were emotionally intelligent, some of them are not really that book smart, but it was found out that those of them that were emotionally intelligent were able to do well in their academics. Do you see it? And later in life, they were able to do well in their work, business, relationship, other aspects of their life, more than those that were book smart. So somebody will tell you that being book smart is not enough. Yes, that's very, very true. You must be emotionally intelligent. There are a lot of things emotional intelligence does for you. There are a lot of things. It helps you to it helps you to uh, 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 it helps you to encounter, helps you to handle challenges very well. So emotional intelligence is ability to recognize, understand, please excuse me, tell your dad. Ability to, sorry for that, it's my daughter. So um emotional intelligence, what you are feeling, you are able to recognize what you are feeling, and not just that, you are able to understand what you are feeling. You know, we grew up in, I don't know about you, but I can say for myself, your parents will beat you. My parents will beat you and they will tell me if I hear pain. So you are feeling pain and you are not allowed to express it. We also grew up to hearing boys don't cry, things like that. We also grew up a lot of a lot was not taught to us about emotion. A lot were not taught about emotions. So whatever you see us doing today is we trying to unlearn, relearn, and learn. So I am not judging you in any way for how you grew up. But now that you have an opportunity to see those lapses and work on them, why don't you take it? So you get to recognize, in emotional intelligence, you recognize, understand what you are feeling. It's not just a matter of feeling a way, how will I put it? Having feelings that you are not able to put into words. You can go back on our to our listen on emotional awareness, our teaching on emotional awareness. You'll be able to recognize them, understand where is it coming from, what makes me tick, what are my triggers. You know, for me, I hate indiscipline. So most of my triggers in the classroom is anything that had to do with indiscipline. Having understood that, I now move on to what? Managing it. So how do I? It is in managing it that you get to understand the other learners, understand what also is making them to respond or react the way they are doing. Then you go on to use these emotions effectively. Somebody will say that emotions are not bad. It is society that tells us that this emotion is bad and this emotion is not bad. No, emotions are not bad. In fact, there are some times that if you are not angry at something, you can't change that particular thing. So there are no bad emotions. There are only bad expressions. So you get to understand them, use them well, express them effectively. So as an educator, you owe yourself emotional intelligence, and you also owe your learners instilling in them emotional intelligence. Let's move on quickly. You know, when we talk about emotional intelligence, week, last 2 weeks, when we were talking about emotional awareness, we talked about three areas of emotional awareness. Please, you can go back, watch, because it's kind of a foundation to this. When we talk about emotional intelligence, there are also five components of emotional intelligence. Number one is emotional awareness. That's recognizing one's emotion and the effect it has on you. That's emotional awareness. Another one is self-regulation. That's ability to manage your emotions in a healthy way. Yes, you will feel angry. Yes, you will feel happy. Yes, you will feel sad. Yes, you will feel frustrated. But how do you manage them in a healthy way? That last week I talked about cognitive behavioral therapy and how we believe that antecedents lead to affects mind. Our mind affects, that's our emotions, our it affects our behavior. So for some people, antecedents, that challenges, encounters, daily encounters, affects them emotionally. Of course it happens for everybody, but because they are not equipped to manage those emotions well, they slide into uh, maladaptive behaviors. They now let me give this analogy. Someone who can't handle children crying, an educator who can't handle children crying, that's the antecedent, is frustrated, and before you know it, she will start beating that same child that is crying. So you see why self-regulation is very important. Things will happen to cause us to be stressed, but how we regulate, how we interpret, analyze, and manage that particular emotion will determine how we react. Another aspect of emotional intelligence is motivation. Are you that particular adult that starts something and you don't see it through? It might be an indication that you are low on emotional intelligence. Yes, because emotional intelligence talks about one of the components of emotional intelligence is motivation. That's using your emotion to pursue goals with persistence, starting and finishing, no matter the challenge you meet. Starting, there is a time, seed, time, and harvest. So there is a gap between starting and finishing. And in between, you can feel several things. You can feel frustrated, you may fail, you may feel sad, you may feel happy at accomplishing some things. All these are there. But if you are low on emotional intelligence, you might not be motivated to persist and see that particular task to the end. Another aspect of emotional intelligence is empathy, understanding others' emotions and perspective. A lot of adults lack this. In fact, I was telling someone, I said, the world is deficient of empathy. We are self absorbed, self focused. Our opinions, we hold them strong. So if you are low on emotional intelligence, you find out that understanding how people feel. I read a post today where somebody said something. He said being being sorry, being sorry does not include diminishing the the weight of what you did. Something like that. I think I'm paraphrasing it, but I've seen people who you did something, someone is feeling bad, and you were like, "Is it not just this? What else do you even want me to do?" Things like that. It shows that person is low on emotional intelligence. Empathy is low on empathy. So understanding how people feel, understanding others' perspective. See, understanding people's perspective doesn't mean you must agree with them. I was telling somebody earlier this week. I have a lot of people who I follow. I don't agree with what everything they say, but that doesn't mean I don't understand where they are coming from. They are two different things. You must not agree, but the way you disagree also matters. So, empathy. Another one is social skills, building positive relationships and managing social dynamics. Many adults are low on this. So, there is a deficiency of emotionally intelligent adults. And this is why we are here. When we have cultivated emotional intelligence, we instill it into our students so that in the nearest future, when they become adults themselves, they will how do I put it, they will be adults that are emotionally intelligent, that will not make the same mistake the masses are making now. Let's move on from there. Emotional intelligence matters. Emotional intelligence supports learning, especially in the area of emotional regulation. In the classroom, looking at the classroom environment, a lot of interaction happens, a lot of dynamics relationship are built, both complex and simple. You have learners from different background, learners with with individual differences, and you are expected to relate with these learners. Some of them can be annoying, some of them can be very encouraging. You will rely on your emotional intelligence to deal with these individuals. And again, for the learners, on the part of the learners, emotional intelligence on the part of the learners, they also need it to relate with themselves in the classroom. In the area of self-regulation again, you find out that most times the learning tax, the course tax that these children are supposed to do might be challenging. It might be something new. It can lead to so many things: anxiety. They can feel frustrated. They can feel pressure. So if they are emotionally intelligent, it helps them to stay on that task, not to take out or exhibit behavioral disruptions. So it's very important. It helps you to build stronger relationship with your colleagues, build stronger relationship with the students. It also improves academic performance. I wrote something. I said that research links higher emotional intelligence with improved academic outcome. Let me give this analogy. My elder sister, she's not so uh, she's not that book smart. But one thing I noticed about her is that she's emotionally intelligent, very emotionally intelligent. So she will keep at a task. She will keep at a task. She will continue to do that task. She- Even when she fails, she's not easily discouraged. That's emotional intelligence. She has a high dose of emotion. And if you interact with her, if you look at her output, this person is intelligent, this person is book smart. That is as a result of what? Emotional intelligence. If you see that child who is willing to try, even though they fail, they continue to try. For me, it wasn't like that before. I wasn't that way. If I try a task and it's not working, I will drop it. So I quit easily. But this my sister, she doesn't quit easily, and that is a pointer to how emotionally intelligent she is. So learners who are emotionally intelligent can keep at a task. They take learning serious. They are more focused. So they are they have high chances of having improved academic outcomes. That's just it. So is a protective factor against stress, anxiety, and depression. You know, I had a section with some senior students this week, and I was telling them the reason why the reason most uh, the reason most teenagers in the university fail. They will fail a particular course, fail at a particular relationship, and the next thing is to take the easy way out, is because they are low on emotional intelligence. They are not regulated, they are not self-regulated. That's just it. So it is when we are emotionally intelligent, it protects us from stress, from anxiety, and from depression. What is our role as educators? What is our role? See, you a role model. The reason I will keep drumming this emotional intelligence stuff is that you a role model. The students are looking at you. They are looking at how you handle conflict in the classroom. They are looking at how you react to their excesses. They are looking at how you react to their failures. You are a role model. And because you are a role model, you have to cultivate it yourself. These children are looking, they are watching the way you treat them, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat others. So, because we are role models, what do we do in order to show our learners that emotional intelligence, how can be cultivated? How do we teach them? How do we teach them emotional intelligence? First, it starts from you. Cultivate emotional intelligence. How do you do this? Learn your emotions. Learn emotional awareness. Be someone who is emotionally aware. Go if you can go back to our webinar on emotional awareness. It teaches you how to cultivate emotional awareness. So you have to learn to name your emotions. There was something happened this past week. I i was trying to address an issue amongst the senior students, and while I was at it, they were not allowing me. At a point, I told them, I'm beginning to get frustrated. I have verbalized my emotions. And verbalizing your emotion, saying what you feel about a particular situation to your learners, shows them that you respect them. And it also shows them what they need to do at that particular point in time. I have so much done this with my learners that whenever I tell them I'm beginning to get frustrated, they straighten out. They straighten themselves out. Do you see it? So I verbalize my emotions. If I am tired, if I'm feeling tired, I'll tell them I'm feeling tired. It also helps them, apart from the fact that it shows them you respect them, teaches them to trust you. It also helps them also to verbalize their own emotion. I was telling someone that when I took up this particular tax, I I noticed most learners, they are aggressive, very aggressive. They shout on each other, things like that. All those emotional dysregulation, attitude. That was anarchy. There was complete anarchy in the class. But as I continued to express my emotions, teach them, instruct them, we have what we call social emotional learning. Is a curriculum, is part of the curriculum. If you can, please adopt it. Teach them about their emotions, teach them self-awareness. At a point, we started journaling. Yes, we did girls' journal. So at the end of the term, we come together. What do you think about yourself from what you have journaled so far? Do you see it? It helps them. I'm talking about the senior student, but you can also do that for your little ones, helping them to name their emotions, use emotional coaching languages. I feel irritated. And when you're excited, I feel excited. I'm enthusiastic. Things like that. It helps you put your emotions into words and helps them as well. So there are no ambiguous situations in the class. There are no ambiguous situations. You are sad about something, one of them, for example, a particular student of mine, she wasn't in school for a while. I asked, and it was a health issue. There and then, I empathized with her. We started making arrangements to. That is what social emotional learning is all about. That's the practical aspect of this thing. It's not even enough to teach, but show them. So that is it. Encourage them also to express their emotions. Don't shut them down. We do this a lot because this is what we was done to us when we were growing up. Come on, will you close your mouth? You don't talk when I'm talking. Things like that. I'm not saying they should talk when you are talking, but there is a way to address it. I gave an illustration some time ago of what happened in my class. I was trying to address something, and the boy was shouting. He was angry. I looked at him. Timobi, are you shouting? I said, no, I'm sorry. Am I shouting? He said, no. I said, so why are you shouting? You know you can talk to me in a calm manner and I will understand you. She said, that was it. And I noticed that particular boy, anytime he wants to talk again, he will ask for auntie, am I shouting? Auntie, am I shouting? I said, no, you can go ahead. Auntie, excuse, I want to talk. Do you see? That's the practical aspect of all these things. So build an emotionally safe classroom. Allow them to express their emotions. Don't shut them down. Don't don't allow them to shut each other down. I noticed this a lot. I noticed it when I took up that task. I noticed it. They shut themselves down, things like that. And I corrected it. It took a while, but they learned. Don't shut them down. Allow them to talk. Listen, active listening. Consider their own perspective. They might be wrong, but instead of telling them you are wrong, just like that, cutting them off with you are wrong, why not? I understand your perspective. Can we see it this way? Things like that. It also helps their self-esteem. So be predictable. I was telling somebody, when it comes to my students, they know what I can do. Be predictable. Actions, consequences. If you are rude, you won't. You go and cool off. Yes. If you are rude, you go and we give you the calm corner. Then also create a predictable routine, especially for the younger ones. Create a predictable routine and a healthy boundary. One of the weeks we talk about balance between compassion and authority. Create a healthy boundary. Yes, I am that teacher that every child feels comfortable with, but I don't allow you to be your worst in my personal space. I correct it immediately. Yes, that's how to create a healthy boundary. So the fact that my students are comfortable around me does not mean they will be their worst in my personal space. It doesn't mean I'm going to kill that fly with a hammer. It simply means I will correct it there and then. I remember I walked in to address the junior class, I think JSS2, last week, and someone was making noise. And I asked them, who is disturbing my class? One of the boys said, is that fat boy. I had to correct it there and then because he said it in a way to mock him. And I know that they've been mocking him. So I corrected it there and then. I shunned him and he stopped. I've been in their class several times. He stopped. And that boy that he was addressing, the boy he was addressing was shocked as well. He didn't know anybody can stand up for him. He didn't know anybody can stand up for him. That's what it means. Create a respectful boundary. You as a teacher learn to respect your students. This is not what we teach every day because we grew up in a society where the adults can be their worst without apologies, but the junior cannot react. So be a respectful teacher. I normally say we talk about how students respond to us, but we fail to put into account how we acted towards them that made them. They are human beings, especially as they are not that emotionally mature. They will react. Sometimes, if they will not react, they transfer the aggression to others. So respond to emotional outbursts with curiosity rather than punishment. Is it, there was something that happened during my secondary school days. Something happened, and this particular teacher, who was known as a disciplinarian, was flogging this particular student. She wasn't the rude type. She wasn't the rude type, but the flogging at the time, she had to react. She she got mad. She took it out on the teacher. So when that case was reported, I was a senior prefect, so I was privy to the information. When the case was reported to the principal, after everything, told that particular teacher how what transpired. How did you react to this student that made her to lash out at you like that? Sometimes we find out that shutting these children down, not allowing them to express themselves, makes them frustrated and they can do anything at that point. They might not be able to do because out of respect or fear, but they will take it out on you, and you are sabotaging whatever message, whatever discipline you want to pass across at that point in time. So instead of responding with emotional outbursts, I used to be at this, meet it with curiosity. Why is this so? Why is this so? So let me move on. Teach emotional skills explicitly. Teach it explicitly. Integrate SEL, that's social emotional learning activities like journaling, uh, emotional vocabularies, role playing, things like that. Integrate it. Then encourage empathy and perspective. I've said it before. Instead of cutting them off, ask them, try and understand their perspective, and also ask them to see it from your own perspective. Sometimes using the word I think can be very helpful. I think it can be very helpful. So let's be mindful of these things when we are trying to instill emotional intelligence into our students. Let's be mindful of, let's be culturally sensitive when we are trying to, because the acceptable way of expression in a particular culture might not be the acceptable way of, especially when you have diverse learners in your class. Let's be mindful. That's why you have to know your learners, know where they are coming from, so that you can meet them at that level. So emotional expression is diverse across different cultures. So also be mindful of uh, trauma, uh, trauma of, let me say, vulnerable learners. You know, teaching, instilling emotional intelligence into learners who have been traumatized can be very challenging, and this is the one of the main goals of trauma informed teaching. There are students in your class who have undergone or going through diverse kinds of traumatic experiences. So it can be very challenging teaching them emotional intelligence. So, number one thing you have to prioritize is safety, safety, stability, stability, safety. Let them come to trust you. Do you understand? Show them that they are safe with you. Consistency, and build relationship with them. And lastly, I will say this: why trying to instill emotional intelligence? You can't give what you don't have. So everything circles back to you. I will recommend that you read Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Coleman. Read that book. It's a very interesting read, and it's going to teach you a lot of things. It's going to hit you hard though, like it hit me. So prioritize your own emotional health. Prioritize emotional intelligence for yourself, because you can't give what you don't have. It is a calm teacher that can instill calmness into uh, his or her learners. So that is it for emotional intelligence in the classroom. I will encourage you, if you want to explore this area of emotional intelligence better, take your next week task. Take it very serious. Take it very serious. The task, everything, the reflection, take it serious. Do the tasks with your learners, journal, and by the end of that next week, I want by Friday, I should be receiving testimonies of how you handled a particular overwhelming issue very well, effectively, as a result of your own emotional intelligence. See, this is a journey. You might try today and get it, try tomorrow and fail. Keep on trying, keep at it. Before you know it, it becomes part of you. And when you so desire, you can flip. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you have learned something. I will really encourage us, if you have not subscribed to this channel, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, so that when we drop educative videos like this, apart from our Friday webinars, when we drop educative videos like this, you will be notified. Thank you so much. Yes, we've come to the end of today's webinar. Is your favorite school psychologist, Nwaebiem. I believe in raising teachers who are emotionally aware. I believe in raising emotionally intelligent teachers. I believe in raising teachers who are not just here to pass through passerbys in the teaching profession, but people who will embody what teaching is all about. Thank you very much. Have a very lovely week. Mm, lie down and sleep. And tomorrow morning, sleeping. Sleeping. Don't rush. Don't rush out. Take care of yourself. Do something wonderful for yourself. I love you. Have a great weekend. Bye.